I first read the story, I was surprised to find out that it was written by a 16-year-old because the story had great sensitivity and maturity, especially given the difficult subject matter. So it was no surprise when I finally met Leen in person to see that she was very bright.
The themes that we found in Leen's story had to do with love and loss, and the theme of how you should never, kind of let go of family, and how when something is traumatic that's happening into your family and can be difficult to handle and deal with, the characters in Leen's story always seem to somehow find a way to kind of turn that sadness at the end into something that was positive.
We're introduced to Sareen in school, and where automatically we get to see that she's having issues at school. One sister is dealing with cancer, one is dealing with mental health issues. But in the background it's us also hearing how the family is dealing with just normal life, jobs. They're also trying to go to school, get ready for college, take the SATs. You don't often hear about storytelling and highlighting health issues, but then also these social justice issues. Quite often in health fields, we use numbers, but how do we tell a story with a human touch? Elevating this teen's voice, I think, is powerful to really draw out some key themes, right? And it's not just about, yes, the focus is leukemia, but there are other things, other nuances that you can draw and people can actually connect to.
I had some suggestions about the script in terms of, making it as real as possible in terms of what the issues around a diagnosis of leukemia are and what the stages might be or the treatments might be and how that might impact. It sounded as though she relapsed about a year into her initial treatment. And while we can be very optimistic about things, when we start to treat, if somebody's leukemia comes back, especially if it comes back early after starting therapy, and that would imply it as a more resistant kind of leukemia, people who do relapse then need to start all over again, and not only that, but often start with more difficult medications.
I work with the youth program at the Arab American Family Support Center in downtown Brooklyn. We currently have a program that's called AYWA, which in Arabic means yes, which stands for Audacious Young Women in Action. I think sometimes when we try to talk about the Arab or Muslim experience, we try to make it hyper Arab or Muslim. What was cool about it made me think oh my God, so she just spoke about a normal Brooklyn Muslim family that just lives in Brooklyn and has cancer. I think what she wanted to do was create a story where it wasn't the identity of Muslims isn't so caught up in just war and conflict and sadness. Even though this is a sad story, I think she just wanted to make a story that was hey, Muslims have cancer and live in middle-class neighborhoods and go to the school that you go to. So there's not really any much of a difference.
You don't see Muslims on movies. You don't see them being portrayed how they should be. You just see it. It just comes along with a negative connotation, which I guess was an issue that I wanted to get across. Well, being Muslim in America, I never thought would be an issue that would have to be talked about. Having this conversation, why am I talking about religion? What does it have to do with anything? But now, considering everything that's going on, it's something that definitely should be taught and understood.
I think Leen has felt different in our school because of her religion or because of her culture. Dealing with your own cultural identity in a school or in an environment where you may not be in the majority, or where there may not be too many people who look like you or represent, or those cultural ideas are not always represented as abundantly, is a challenge. And I think figuring out how to deal with that challenge while also dealing with loss, while also finding out who you are and your place in the world, and following whatever your desires are is an important thing for students, especially if they're coming to terms with their own identity.
I think the main issue is what is worth fighting for. What's the reason for living? What makes family and friendship and love and struggle worth the fight? So I think it's a story about fighting for the things you believe in, fighting for your family, fighting for the right to live your life the way you want to live it, and all these complicated questions about life and death and the choices that need to be made when it comes to your quality of life and how that impacts the people you love.
Making a film is a difficult and collaborative process. It involves many people working many, many hours, and this crew of young people were just amazing in their enthusiasm and just their excitement to be involved in the process.
The whole feeling that the whole process was very different. I've never done something like this before, this big before. This is my first time writing a script for anything. You know, I didn't know how to do it, I didn't know where to start, I didn't know. I was new to everything. But I think that this whole experience really helped me shape the way I think things now, because I know that when making a movie, it's not easy. There are a lot of factors that come into play, and every single piece of that is what makes up a film, and I'm really thankful.
It was really great to see Leen like sitting behind a camera, like in that sort of directorial position, and just knowing the fact that she had a lot of say in what happened in her film seemed to like it really kind of mattered to her. I kind of spoke to her later, and I remembered her saying that being behind the camera was something that she wasn't sure that she felt comfortable doing, but the fact that this story was hers that was being told, and the fact that Scenarios was so accommodating about letting her have such a say in the way that the story was told, I think was fantastic for her.
Seeing everything come together, like looking back at how it started as like a simple story, and seeing how something so simple can become something like so amazing, and something that I'm proud of doing. I think this film helped me when I talk about myself, because it's something that can relate to me. You see some of me in the film. Having a relationship with my sister is something that you see in the movie, and living that culture at home, that's something I have. And I think that when people view the film, they can see it through me.
Working with Scenarios was a wonderful experience for me, as well as for all the young people in the cast and crew. I think that to educate the next generation of young storytellers to tell stories that are personal to them and meaningful to them is what Scenarios is all about.
I feel that the curriculum has impacted the students because it gives the students a chance to say the things that they normally can't say, or that they feel like maybe that they're ashamed to say, or that they normally can't bring up. So it allows them the freedom to say this. That freedom gives them the opportunity to express themselves in a way that they normally wouldn't be able to.
I want students to know that it's okay to make something different. You don't have to make what you think is like a picture perfect film. You should be able to express yourself freely.